glasses.
All right. So how you doing, man? Thanks for making the time for me here.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a nice place, nice studio you got.
Thanks.
Cool. So, how'd you first get into glassblowing?
Well, I am the certain kind of old that I was interested before YouTube, before Instagram, before the internet. Man, I'm old. And you just have this one kind of vision of glass in your mind that you see on TV or the Renaissance Fair or the cruise ship or whatever. Then I went away to school and someone gave me a line on a studio that gave some lessons. I went up there and it was a different kind of glass blowing I've never even seen before, something called lamp working. We're using this like big screaming blowtorch in front of your face, my buddy Phil's, and you just check out what he's doing. You don't need a whole team of people. It's just like you and the torch. It's very approachable, we'll call it, even though it's a big screaming flame. But again, you don't need a huge infrastructure. Most people can set up in their basement, garage, shed, whatever. Took a couple of lessons, and lessons turned into an apprenticeship, and it's turned into what I do.
That's cool.
Yeah. Won a bunch of money on the craps table, turned that all into glass blowing lessons, and now.
Oh, so you give lessons too then?
Yeah. I'm actually Long Island's #1 most tenured teacher. I do both glass blowing and fusing. Thousands of students taught. I'm actually currently trying to teach myself the third discipline of glass blowing. You know, that's furnace work, the big flaming hole, the big metal sticks. That's what everyone thinks of when they hear glass blowing. I point a lot, so I'm not pointing to anything.
No, that's right.
I married an Italian, so I talk with my hands a lot.
Gotcha. Well, you still have the first piece you did?
Somewhere. I just moved not too long ago, so like everything is kind of in disarray. But I definitely still have one of the first functional pieces I made.
What was it? Sorry.
Functional means, like a pipe or something that can be used.
I got you.
First lesson or two were like little pendants or whatever. Either my wife has it or it's gone. But the first pipe I made, I still have. It started off as a relatively full pipe, but by the end, it's this little, like, nose burner thing.
Right.
I used to like to show it to my current students when we start pipe making. Yeah. So they started from the bottom, now you're here.
Yeah. I mean, I make jewelry, and I once was making this ring, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
Turned out to be a bracelet. That's how big I made this freaking thing. I was like, wait a minute, this ain't a ring, man. Yeah. It turned out to be like a small bracelet. But yeah, it's cool. But what were you telling me before? This green thing. Tell me a little about that. I mean, I wish I had video to show it. But
sure. I just finished this. It's roughly 8x8 square, cigar rest or ashtray, if you will.
Right.
It's in like a brick pattern that I've kind of not pioneered, but seen some other stuff and kind of put it together into this kind of idea. They're 3 by 1.5. Like little tiles, and I found a way to kind of grout them in. That piece, I don't know how many pieces are in it, but even just the little nubs in the top to help stabilize things. You start off with a piece of glass that's like $50 or $25 or something like that, and you have to grind it down so you're just getting that tiny little nub nice and tight or whatever. Once you have the little nubs, then you have to tack fuse it onto the piece of glass, so it's one firing to make all the smaller pieces one piece, another firing to tack fuse the nubs onto the piece, and then a third firing to then slump it into that shape. Not to mention all the grinding of the nubs and the piece and the rounded corners, and every single time you grind something, you start off with a very rough grit, and then you finish with a very fine grit. If you turn your head over here, you can see all these wheels on the wall over here. Those are all different grits that you have to work through to achieve those nice glassy finishes.
Yeah. I gotta get a picture of that, and when I post this announcement, we'll put that on there because that's cool as hell.
Sure.
People don't appreciate it. Not that I don't not appreciate it, but the amount of time it takes to do something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, you see a price tag and now you're like, wow, I think it's a piece of glass. It's like, no, man, it's not just a piece of glass.
And especially in relation to other art mediums out there, I feel like glass is the most misunderstood, and like it takes the most amount of skill, talent, infrastructure, material versus pretty much all the other artistic mediums out there. Like, painting. One of my friends is a world-renowned badass painter. His
Right.
work is in houses worth millions of dollars. But like at the end of the day, it's canvases and paints, and paints are cheap, and you don't need oxygen and propane
Right,
and
right.
ventilation and fire and like there's all you're bending the laws of physics to achieve
Yeah.
these things, and at any moment the piece could just give you the big fuck you, and that's it. All your time is right down the drain.
Wow.
Even like metal workers, again, nothing against metal workers. I know some nasty metal workers, but tack something up, take it out, look at
Yeah.
it, I don't like it, cut it off, do it again, or maybe taper it a little or whatever. Glass is the most fickle, non-forgiving, expensive, takes the most amount of time to
A lot
learn.
of dedication. Then, huh?
It's you're skateboarding while painting a picture, while cooking a meal, while skydiving, while engineering, kind of all at the same time,
Right.
all on the fly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you told me something earlier when he came in. I totally forgot what it was. I got brain spasms. I'm 60. You got to bear with me.
It's cool.
But something about how you wanted to, because you did another podcast and it was focusing mostly on the pipes.
Yep.
But there's another aspect that it's more to it than just making pipes. I mean,
Sure.
that's cool, but
What I was mentioning was just like this other podcast was, just kind of more cannabis centric, which is totally fine.
Right.
And that's definitely a whole sector of the industry, from production grade, entry level spoons and pipes and little hand pipes or whatever, to museum quality, hundreds of thousands of dollars, just so happens to be a pipe
Right.
type of artwork, and kind of anything in between. But I've realized a long time ago that unfortunately I am not one of those ballers. I'm kind of baller, but I'm not one of those ballers where like every single thing you make is sold. It still takes me some effort to sell whatever.
right.
And here on Long Island, there is a deep culture in all these different areas that could be like wine, vineyards, coffee, food, home decor, educational experiences, you name it. And that's kind of where I've switched my business model from just being solely a pipe maker to more of a more well-rounded glass artist.
Right. And you make the Jewish glass, right? What is that?
So I've recently started a new website, www.jewishweddingglass.com, where the idea is when Jews get married, that you get married under a huppah. That's that like tent thing. And at the end of the ceremony, you're supposed to step on the glass for good luck and all that type of stuff. The idea behind the projects are I make the glass for you to step on in whatever color combos that we can come up with. And then you smash that shit and send me back the shards, and then I remelt the shards and rebuild it into a mezuzah for your home. Mezuzah is the thing that goes in the doorposts of Jewish homes with the little scroll inside.
Oh, okay, right,
Yeah,
right,
exactly. So it's a nice little kind of full, I don't want to say full service, but like a nice, well-rounded gift signifying the ceremony, and like there's a lot of synergy between like shards being remelted together into one solid piece, and unity and marriage and all
Right,
those types of
yeah.
things, and into a forever keepsake for your home. So I really like the idea of the project. I've already taken on some pretty cool commissions and definitely looking forward to doing more. That's www.jewishweddingglass.com or at Jewish Wedding Glass. Still working on the Instagram, but it's there.
Yeah, we'll put that up too.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a special kind of like look or style? I don't know much about that. I don't know anything about it. Honestly.
No, that's kind of, it's art, just like anything else. The only real criteria is it's just got to fit in the door frame, and that's actually not even 100% accurate. Generally, they're made to fit inside the door frame, but I've definitely done some more artistic versions that may be better suited just inside the door frame, like just inside the home,
Right.
not exposed to the elements or whatever. For example, I've been doing a tree of life, so it's like a center it's basically like a full size tree
Right,
sculpture
right.
that's meant to hold the scroll or whatever. But
Cool.
that's like 20 or something leaves that I have to make, weld, point, reshape, rebend, and all this type of stuff to kind of give it flow. But it's like a bigger piece, so that goes on the inside of the wall. But like, the sky's the limit, and that's actually one of the things I love about the Jewish culture is like parts of it are very like natural, earthbound, organic type of feels to it. Some of it is very modern and sleek and very like refined or whatever,
Right.
and like you can go down all these different paths, which I enjoy.
Right, right. Yeah, it's like I said, man, I told you before, I do jewelry,
Yep.
and I actually do it in my living room. You know what I mean? So I use acetylene in my
Okay.
living room, and like to
Great
do
man.
glass, you can't do this in your living room. Even though this is a
No.
small studio, but
Yeah.
still, this can't fit in the living room. But what kind of gas do you use? You use acetylene or
No, acetylene's too dirty.
oh,
I use propane and oxygen. Copious amounts of propane and
wow,
oxygen. If you're doing something called quartz, which is an even harder style of glass, some people use hydrogen instead because it burns that bit hotter.
okay,
With the torch, you just need ventilation. That's the main thing. There's definitely plenty of people that set up again in their
yeah,
basement, shed, garage, whatever. But you need fresh air in and
you're right.
air being pulled out. In
That's
fact,
what I like about acetylene. It floats. It goes up instead of down. You know what I
okay,
mean? So it's and with the fans on, yeah, because my house is drafty. So
sure, all right.
yeah, it's safe. But propane gets hot enough, huh?
Well, it's the oxygen.
Oh, the oxygen, right,
That's
right,
the
right.
accelerant. Like the
Okay,
propane. I have a Bunsen burner on my desk. That thing cooks at about 1500.
okay.
My main torch, in a normal flame, that thing's 4,000 degrees
Wow.
getting put out. The glass,
My phone, man.
whatever. You like critical working temperature is 2,500. So and it's a very tough material.
Right.
That's why the flame has to be that much more aggressive to keep the glass in that work zone.
What do most people misunderstand about like glass blowing? Because when a lot of people, when you say glass blowing, first thing they think of is a pipe, or like some fucking idiots might think of a crack pipe or something stupid.
I feel
But
like after teaching thousands of people,
right,
when you say glass blowing to someone, they think the big flaming hole and the big metal stick or chahuli. Those are kind of just the two big things that people comment, or they'll say, "Oh, I seen that show blown away. I can't wait to try this." I go, "Great, that's not what we do here, but
right,
get ready, we're gonna have
yeah.
some fun." So that's I feel like the first thing, and then maybe the second or third thing is like the glass pipe industry, or I have a glass pipe or whatever. Yeah, like especially it just depends on your kind of demographic.
Right, I
If you're
get you. Yeah,
if you're a young kid, then you're
right.
probably thinking
Yeah.
of pipe making. But if you're in that older gen,
A
then
businessman might think of a snifter. Like, hey, can you make me a snifter?
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
I do that. I love doing cupware. I wish I was more proficient at it so that I could offer it at a slightly lower buck because it is, I've been doing this for 20 years now, or almost
Wow.
20 years now, and that is literally 10 of 10 difficulty. That is the most difficult thing in my repertoire.
How old are you?
42.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought you were younger.
No, thank you very much. No, I just turned 42. Um, I hoped one day to get a lathe. It's like a machine.
Yeah, yeah. I had a lathe. I sold it,
That will make all these connection points easier and less stressful on me and cleaner, and I will hopefully be able to offer these things at a more
Right.
affordable cost.
Would a glass lathe be different than like a wood lathe or a
Yep,
machine
yep.
lathe?
The glass lathe, both chucks need to be powered and in complete unison. On a wood lathe, you just have power over here, you
Right.
just put the pin in, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like solid the whole time. Well, as soon as you start to apply heat in the middle, it becomes malleable. So if you're just applying heat to one side, it's just going to twist off and fly all over the place.
Right.
So most glass lathes have a drive shaft that connect the two so that when you adjust the speed over here, they're both turning
Oh,
at the
okay.
same time. So it will turn the piece of glass in space. It does remove one of your three biggest tools for glass blowing, which is heat, gravity, and rotation. You still have heat and you still have rotation, but you're kind of losing out on gravity.
Yeah, because it's going whichever way. It's like out, right?
Yeah, well, no, not even that. It's the borosilicate, the type of glass you use in lamp working, is stiffer. Like, don't get me wrong, it will bend and flex and like drip and all that type of stuff. But it takes a pretty serious zing to like, so it like flops all over
Right.
the place or whatever. It's more about gravity is important. Like when I'm doing it by hand, you can tilt your hands a little left, a little right, and the glass will flow in that direction.
Right.
That's how you can help control shaping and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Again, on the lathe, it's fixed, so there is no gravity. Your gravity is only down.
Right.
That's the one thing you got. So everything else, if you're trying to do it, the tailstock moves in and out, and that is you got speed and in and out, and that's it. And through those two mechanics, that's how you have to try to get this thing to do whatever it is that
Wow.
you're after.
How fast does it spin? Probably slow. Is it slower than like if you do metal work? Or
I'm not really sure of what kind of speed or RPM it's at because they all have like a control box, and the control box generally is just like a 1 to 100. I'm not even
yeah,
sure.
you have no idea what the RPM.
I'm not even sure what that's measuring, but you just kind of find like a comfortable
Like a
speed.
sweet spot.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah, I
kind of
gotcha.
it. You want to match hand speed, but your hand speed is dictated by your torch speed, which
Right.
like these are all fictional terms. I'm just making up on
Right,
the
right.
fly
No, I
here,
gotcha.
but like the flame, like it could be soft, it could be aggressive, it could be like whatever. So and if you're like spinning in super fast and your flame is super slow, this thing is never going to get hot, or it's going to take a long ass time for it to get anywhere near like the working temperature. So you
Right.
just kind of match those things up depending on what's going on.
Yeah, it's like in a tattoo. If you got a fast running machine and you're moving your hand like a liner and you're moving your hand slow,
Yeah,
you end up with some wobbly, blown
Sure.
out line.
Yeah.
You got to, it takes a little practice to get your speed to your
sure, yeah,
ability.
yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. Exactly that type of feel.
Cool, cool. So you teach, so it's important to pass this knowledge on, huh?
Oh yeah, that's
good.
actually
Sharing what you know, right?
there's like one school in South Jersey, like an accredited Salem Community College that you can go and get a degree in scientific glassblowing.
Oh, really?
Other than that, that's pretty much it. Some colleges might have art programs that incorporate a little bit of traditional glassblowing, but there largely is no like school for this type of thing, especially in our area. There's 2 facilities out in Brooklyn, but that might as well be another planet. People from Brooklyn do believe it to be another planet. That's a whole nother story. And then after that, it's Corning or one of these facilities in South Jersey or whatever. So Long Island's pretty devoid of this, and like it's definitely very regional, just like being a chef, like different people in different parts of the country do these things differently, and it's really only handed down from master to other people. Because not to say that I'm a master, but like just whatever. I have the hours logged, and I've actually taken a great deal of professional development classes by some of the best. And I was doing another podcast or whatever,
Yeah.
and this gentleman sent me the list of questions beforehand, and one of them was, "Oh, do you have any formal education?" And at the time, I was whipping up my website, and I was making a nice little bio with all the different classes that I took. I said, "Yes, actually, I have the list right here," and rambled up the list of like 12 or 15 people, and the dude was like, "Bro, I've asked, I can't even tell you how many people these same questions, and not one of them has the education that you have." I was like, "Damn." But it's largely in part to my homie Phil upstate. He opened up a large, big, beautiful facility, Prism Glassworks in Troy, New York. Shout out. That we hosted pretty much the best of the best once a month because they had like a town night out, like
Right.
the Live 5 or whatever. So we used to throw these little soirees where it would be like a Friday night demo by whoever. And sometimes they would teach a class through the weekend. So I was lucky enough to take all of these classes by some amazing artists. So like I have a very well-rounded method to the madness. The things I do, the processes I do are for a very explicit reason, and it's pretty cool. So I like giving that to, or not giving it, but passing it down to other students and stuff.
How does like what's the difference scientific glass blowing? Do you do that at all or no?
Scientific glass blowing is like literally what you think. Like it's like chemistry sets, NASA stuff, like like reactors, coil condensers, all these.
Oh, like you see like the spiral tubes.
Exactly, and that's all
Frankenstein shit.
Exactly, and that's its own special skill set. Like those guys are wizards. Some of the things they're able to do, especially just on the lathe alone, those guys are wizards. It's very funny. Those dudes, not that they want to be us, but most of the pipers want to be some kind of scientific glass worker, just because either A, they can incorporate their skills into their art, which is always amazing, and B, like the scientific glass blowers, you get paid on Friday. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
being an artist, you're chasing
nice having a paycheck.
Chasing your buck. Yeah, you chase every dollar as an artist, which sucks balls.
And what's this play? Every month you go up there? And,
oh no, this was back in the day. This was
you.
during the golden age of glass, which seems to be already past us a little bit.
Oh, okay. And you said you work with a lot of people, so you've been influenced by them?
Yeah, my pipe style in particular, I focus on fume work, which is taking pieces of silver and glass and vaporizing them in the flame and trapping them inside of the glass by like coating it with some clear or even just on the surface. And if you do it right, using just those two elements, you could produce the entire rainbow of colors.
Oh.
But boy, I tell you, not that I chose wrong, but like it is the most fickle of disciplines. Like the way I can explain it, like the torch is like a fretless guitar, right? And like fuming, you have to be a master of flame chemistry, because all these metals require a very certain flame chemistry, and if you're off just a little bit, that can definitely change the colors that you get at the end. And like not all colors are dope. Some colors are just muddy, poopy, whatever. And the colors that you can pull out of the fume is kind of the barometer of how big your schlong is. So because like everyone's got these two silver and gold, but not everyone can produce colors like the dudes that can really nail it. So to go back to my fretless guitar analogy, like you got to hit that G chord every single time. And if you're just a little bit on either side of the chord, like you're a little flat, you're a little sharp, and it doesn't sound right, So like dudes who are nasty fumers, one, have figured out the magical combinations, and two, can hit those flames every single time. I can't even begin to tell you how many dead projects there are just littered around my desk just because I go through all the work, get to the finish line, and look at it, and the colors just aren't what I want. So there are plenty of times where I'm making one piece or one piece of the piece 2, 3, 4 times in order to achieve kind of what I want.
Wow. I was going to ask something, but I was totally got a brain.
That's all right. I actually have a fume piece right over here if you want to see. So this is a coffee cup that I was.
Okay, yeah, you can see on the surface. It's got like lines, huh?
Yeah, it's a fume line work. If I turn on my flashlight here, there we go.
Oh wow!
You can see some of the colors in there.
That's fucking awesome, man.
This is an awesome piece. I'm definitely stoked with it. This is one of 2 or 3 that I made. Right. But you can even see over here on these colors where there's like a little bit of white.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of a little bit of white. It should be like the nice like electric blue.
Right, like that's
throughout, and you can see a little bit of it, but it definitely kind of wanes in and out.
It looks cool, man.
Sure. This one was acceptable, but like there's definitely levels to this shit type of idea.
Now that's on the surface, and you have to.
That one is on the surface, but you fume the surface, and then you take some like fatter pieces of clear. I like 7 mil for mine. Yeah. And kind of draw it all the way around the tube, and then you heat it all up to kind of melt all that stuff in, and then stretch it out into a longer tube. And then you take pieces of that tube and do whatever type of pattern to it. So that's the straight with the little swirlies on the end. And then this particular one, we stacked those pieces, stacked those sections into like a cylinder, and then my friend with a lathe was grateful enough because did one of these by hand, and it was murder. So I
Right.
have a friend with a lathe that was nice enough. Shout out to the Spiral King to allow me to shape this thing out on the lathe, and like this is definitely above and like it. This might feel a little heavy, but you stick it on the end of a stick, and like it becomes 100 pounds.
Right,
It's
right.
like
I
the
got you.
idea, this weighs nothing, but when you hold it out like this,
Yeah, at
this
the end.
weighs
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. And this is what with silver or gold? The colors?
The silver is the blues and whites. The gold is the like pinks and oranges, and when the two overlap, that's when you get that green.
Oh, okay.
But you can also pull out pinks and purples and all different types of stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot to know about this.
Glass blowing, your material science major, your chemistry major, physics, electrician, HVAC, plumbing. You're doing all. When you start to say, I'm going to be a glass blower, you're signing up for like
Yeah,
all
a
of
lot
it.
of people probably don't realize
Electrician,
that. Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, that's cool. For jewelry, I bought the shit. I got a few books on jewelry making, and I went along,
Yeah.
And this takes years, man.
And there's no books, or
Yeah.
there's only one book.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah,
Are there any
there's-
books
there's-
about this?
There's Contemporary Lampworking, volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Bandu Dunham. He is one of the professors of this industry, and he actually just retooled all these books because like they were originally published, I think, in the late 90s. And
Right.
techniques evolve and all the things evolve, so he literally just redid it. I haven't had a chance to read through the newer models, but I know they're out there. So if you're looking to get into this, Introduction to Contemporary Lampworking by Bandu Dunham.
Is there any like old contemporary, like not contemporary, that's modern, but vintage books from like the 1890s? You find some vintage book you want to, like in jewelry making, you find a lot of old books from like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Not really. So lampworking in general is like a newer medium.
Okay.
Like before lamp work art was a thing. Again, the only reason this stuff existed was for the science industry or in industry in general.
Right.
Whatever that be. That could be like windows or teapots or like
Right.
whatever.
Like, hurricane lamps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
whatever. From that, there were just people that I do this, but I can slowly maybe do some art out of it. And in the late '80s, there were two dudes, Paul Troutman and Abe Fleischman. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. There was a dude and a lady, Paul Troutman and Sue Allen Feller, that are considered the founders of borosilicate color. These two figured out that if they go inside old TVs, like tube TVs, there are these things called gun mounts. They're little pieces of glass that on either side of the cathode ray tube that I believe they were telling the different colors told the TV repairman what type of voltage or what type of thing it needed.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
why so they were literally harvesting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these gun mounts and then melting them down, and that's how the first original 12 colors were produced, and half of those colors sucked. But that was in the late 80s. So if you figure colored borosilicate has only been around since that period of time, borosilicate art is very much in its infancy. Even though it's 25 or 40 years later or whatever,
Right.
it's still very new compared to paint or sculpture,
Right,
where people
right.
have been doing this for thousands of years.
Gotcha.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's Egyptians and early Romans. Traditional glass blowing goes back thousands and thousands
But
and
that's
thousands
just
of years.
glass.
Yeah,
not
that's
like-
furnace
yeah.
work. But my discipline specifically has only been around for just this little bit.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you're one of the innovators, you could say.
No.
No?
Thank you very much, but no, I am not one of the innovators. I'm already like, sometimes I sit there and try to figure out like what generation I am, and I feel like I'm like a Gen 5 or Gen 6 or something like that. And if you were to sit there and count back or whatever, maybe Gen 5. I think I circled down.
5?
Yeah.
Cool. Were you always creative, like as a kid? Like how'd this come about? I mean, I'm backing up a little bit.
Doesn't matter. A little bit. You know, I played some instruments growing up. I
Yeah.
was real big into black and white photography in high school.
Oh yeah, cool. I like photography. Man.
Again, pre-digital cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, that stuff has gone away. Man, I'm old.
I have a freaking view camera. I
Cool.
bought, and you know what? They put the hood over you.
Yeah.
So I made it to take wet plate photography.
Oh, that's
which
cool.
was cool. I got into that for a while.
Yeah.
And then I just stopped.
I was the darkroom nerd. I mixed the chemicals. I did all this type
Oh,
of
that's
stuff.
cool. My bathroom was a dark room for
Yeah,
a long time.
Yeah. I was at B&H. I was getting ready to buy my own equipment and stuff like that. Then digital revolution came and it was just all done.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, film photography is great though.
Yeah, sure is.
Especially with the old school stuff, like I said, the wet plate and
Yep.
I can't pronounce the words to these photography, but all different cyanograph or something like
Sure,
that, or
yeah.
whatever it's called.
Yep.
You know, 'cause I don't know much about this. I honestly don't even know what to ask. I just think glass blowing is cool, and it's, you know, it's definitely an art, and I like talking to artists. You know.
I feel like I'm on the precipice of something larger than what I've been. And, I'm at this point in my career where, lots of other people have ditched. I can't even begin to tell you how many of my friends that were nasty glass blowers have gotten real jobs, so to speak, quote unquote,
Right.
and are just kind of moving away from the field. The only reason not the only reason, but one of the reasons I keep at it is because I live here on Long Island, and just there's more opportunities here than in most parts of the country through any one of the things that we've been talking about. Even just living here, costs a lot of money. So,
Right.
And if you want to rent at the facility I rent at, they charge like $500 or $600 a month.
Wow.
Couple all that together, it is very difficult for an artist to make a living here. You really got to be actually disciplined. It's not just going to work to F around. It's a job. You got to punch in, work from here to there, not scroll on your phone, not hang out with your friends, not do any of that shit. You got to, once you make the shit, and then you got to try to market it, sell it. It's not, you got to keep up with trends. You got to keep leveling up technically, your hand skills and stuff like that. It's very easy to plateau and think this is okay forever, which it's not. It's very difficult. So to be one of the only ones here that can kind of keep it going is, I'm not going to say gratifying, but it's good to know that at least my idea of diversifying in my product, in my marketing, and all this type of stuff not pays off, but will hopefully pay off, we'll say.
So this is all you do? You don't have a
This is it.
have a day job?
No, this is it. This is
That's
it.
cool though. Man.
Glass here, glass there. I do daddy daycare of recent, which I obviously very much enjoy.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just glass.
Yeah. How many kids you got?
Just one.
Just one?
And
Got 4.
L'chaim. I would. What was I gonna say?
You're too young for brain spasms.
No. Again, industry hazard.
I get the brain spasms.
Industry hazard. I think just if you want to, just don't be so closed-minded on I'm only doing this to live here on Long Island, to be able to support a family and be an artist and keep it going. You really got to do the full gambit of whatever it is, whether that be different facets of the medium, teaching, whatever it is you got to do. Not getting paid on Friday definitely sucks.
Yeah.
So you got to chase it all down.
I work at the shop. If I sit there and do nothing, I don't get paid. It's only commission only.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it does. It's like a roller coaster. Got your ups and downs. Yeah.
That is for sure.
How do you get inspired to create a piece? Let's say what hits you so shit. I want to make an ashtray with that technique or something.
In here, I'm still trying to find my way. Right. This particular media, the fusing, you're competing, I don't want to say competing, but you're in a field with a bunch of grandparents and people that are just doing this for a hobby, for just something to do and don't need the money and are just selling things for pennies on the dollar, versus me, who are striving to make nicer pieces, to reach these, at least nicer price points that you see, print art or whatever going for, a bowl of fruit painting for $12,000.
Right.
I was at the Hamptons Art Show, which is a very prestigious art show. Brings people in from around the world, and like I was looking at this one painting or one piece. It wasn't even a painting. It was large. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but it was a drone overhead photograph of like the beach and the ocean. But right where the sand line was, it was covered, literally covered with a bunch of like the cocktail umbrellas. And the cocktail umbrellas were painted either pink or white. Not like little intricate designs. I'm talking like dunked, and they were pink or white across the entire thing. It was like $12,000 and had a big red sticker right next to it, which means sold. I can't even begin to tell you how much more work goes into any one of the pieces that you see around here.
Right.
And if I put a $10,000 price tag on some of these things, not that I get laughed out of here, but I'd get the that's nice dear and and keep it moving. Why that paradigm exists, why people's walls are more valuable than like their bookcase or whatever or coffee table, I'm not really sure. That's an area I'm trying to.
It's like sculpture, you know what I mean? It's another meaning of sculpture, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like some of these sculptures that you see, like I watched this one YouTuber, his name is Enos. He's in tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate, which is a great way for me to kind of peek in on what interior design is doing and what people taste and trends are going for. And like I see a lot of like, here's this giant astronaut in like solid gold or copper or whatever, or like here's a wooden motorcycle. It's like an exact replica of whatever type of and it's like $45,000 or whatever, and like this is dope.
You get the real motorcycle for whatever that price if you want a nice one.
So you see all these things out there, and you start trying to like dive into how do you cross that threshold? How do you like take what it is you're doing, especially if it's of quality? And it's not me like saying these things; it's just what people have told me, and in the different markets that I'm in, and I just don't know what is the disconnect. My one friend I was talking to, who's the painter, we were talking about that ashtray. And like the price of it, and I was like, man, this thing should really be like the amount of time I put into this. If you put this, pointing to him, if you put this amount of time into it, this thing would be like $10,000. And like, I know he's him and I'm me or whatever, but like, I've been at this for 20 years now. I feel like you just need. It's almost like you need just some type of other income. This way you can just put these giant price tags on these things and like that.
I mean, I don't like calling it an ashtray. It's like so beautiful.
Yeah,
it's like, what I mean?
I try to elevate and call it a cigar rest.
Gotcha,
Again, as mentioned, I'm gearing up to go drop off a bunch of work out in Montauk. I have a friend out there who runs a very prestigious jewelry store. I'm talking pieces worth like $250,000.
Wow.
It's like some nice shit. And I see like celebrities that go through there and all this type of stuff. And that's definitely the market I'm trying to hit. But these types of, there aren't very many people that are open to that type of commission based or consignment based drop off. Even though there's plenty of like art galleries out there, it's a very much who you know type of game, and I've been in
like politics involved in it, right?
Definitely part of it, and I've been in the piping world for a while. So those two politics don't intersect. They might look at your Instagram and notice that I have a high followership, so that could be part of it. But like it definitely. You need to shoulder tap interior designers. You need to shoulder tap real estate people. You need to shoulder tap art galleries and all this types of stuff. It's a nonstop grind. Right now, I'm trying to produce like an electronic press kit full of this material so that I can just start carpet bombing these types of stores or whatever across New York, across the country, whatever.
Well, that cigar. Was it a cigar?
Cigar rest.
Cigar rest.
Doobie
Nice,
holder.
man. That
No,
thing
I
is
don't know.
cool as hell.
Yeah.
I just wish the picture I take captures what that thing looks like.
Oh, it's tough. I mean, especially like things that sparkle. I
Yeah.
mean, my phone's old, but I feel like no. I've even had a bunch of my work professionally for photographed. Shout out to Photosilicate for all of your photo needs. He does a great job, but even still, it's tough to capture what
do
the
it
eyeball
justice,
is going
yeah.
on. Yeah, exactly.
What's an artist like that are alive that you'd like to collaborate with? Any artist, even if he's a Rembrandt, a painter, a sculptor, anything. Like if you wanted.
There are so many nasty glass blowers that I would love the opportunity to throw down with. I also have a very long list of nasty glass blowers I have had the fortunate opportunity to throw down with that I'm forever grateful for. I'm also a collector of glass, as you could well imagine, so there's definitely been times where I've worked with, one of these types of like unicorn artists, and I just couldn't bring myself to sell it. Like, I'm going to buy you out of your half of it, but I'm going to keep this for me in my personal collection. I tell this story all the time. There's one artist named Dosh. He's definitely like a Gen 2 or Gen 3 type of dude who lives that gypsy nomad life. He has an Airstream and just travels the country. You just got to be in the right place at the right time to even have the opportunity to work with this guy. And again,
He's all over the place.
Super OG though, like So this time it happened to be Philadelphia. I was down there working with my boy Hops, who owns a studio down there, and sure enough, him and this dude Dosh were very good friends, and he was in the area, so I was able to work with both Hops and Dosh. These are dudes that when I was growing up, there were like books that came out. There was Smoke Volume 1, Volume 2. There was a movie that came out by a glass blower about glass blowing. Degenerate Art by Marble Slinger. If you're interested in this industry at all, definitely check out Degenerate Art by Marble Slinger. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or wherever else.
That's more of a picture book, though, not a how-to book, right?
The Smoked Volume 2 is Smoked Volumes 1 and 2 are picture books. Okay. Degenerate Art is a movie about the industry and how we started and where we are, and that came out like 2007, 8, 9, something like that. But anyway, these dudes are featured in that movie, and then to be able to have the opportunity to work with those dudes from the movie is, cool. Pretty big feather in my cap. These things mean nothing. You go to big name artists or in the ethos of normal life, no one knows who these people are. No one cares who these people are. We're like our own little secret society. But to me, these things, these things are huge to be able to work with these people or take classes with these people.
Well, same thing like if someone mentioned some world famous interior designer or something, I'd be like, who the fuck is that? I don't know. You got to be in that sector, I guess, to know who they are.
100%. But some of these sectors are bigger, wider. More accepted than others.
More appreciated too. You could say. Yeah. That's the one thing I think that not in a bad way. People don't appreciate what you do, and I don't mean in a bad way, like they just put it off, but they don't know the work and talent that goes into this. That the years of having that garbage can next to you, just fucking throwing shit in. You know what I mean?
The learning curve is so steep. I mean, so steep. That's how the make it or break it. If you can make it through the learning curve, then you'll be able to at least have fun at what you do, make sellable products if that's your goal or whatever. But like a lot of people don't ever make it through there, especially once they reach the summertime. Blowing glass on Long Island in the summertime is absolute misery. Right? Today is beautiful and whatever, but it could just as easily be 800 million degrees with the humidity, and as mentioned, that torch is 4,000 degrees in your face, let alone the kiln sitting on your desk. That's 1,000 degrees just sitting there, and with all that water in the air, it just magnifies it instantaneously. It will make your brain bleed. or
Does anyone
like
take time off in the summer? Because I personally, if I was doing this, I couldn't do it in the summer, man.
some people night shift,
Yeah,
they'll switch to doing it at night.
I got you. Yeah, that's a little
That's part of
cooler.
the reason why I created this place, because I just couldn't keep losing time, because I was
Right,
only able to produce one thing that day because it was just too damn hot out.
right,
Like I can't afford that shit.
right,
So in here, it's air conditioned. At least I could just
right.
keep it moving, keep working on stuff. It's one of the reasons why I came up with this place.
Yeah, cool. I was going to ask you something, and I totally forgot what it was. Brain spasms.
It
Yeah, brain
happens.
spasms.
Call that occupational hazard.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Just if you've ever thought about glass blowing or want to just check out the world of glass, definitely hit me up either at my Instagram at b_money_glass, or you can check out my website bmoneyglass.com or jewishweddingglass.com. If you see glass blowers out in the field, definitely give them props. I'm not gonna say they're doing this for you, but it's a tremendous amount of effort to, especially out in the field. It's a tremendous amount of effort to rip up your studio, go somewhere remotely, set it all back up, have things to sell, be sitting there demoing and doing stuff back. Because then on the flip side of that, you got to pack all that shit up on the remote location, drive it all the way back to your home studio, put all the shit back, build your studio back. It's a lot of effort. So follow them, like their page, like their stories, maybe even buy something. It goes a long way.
How about those guys? I wanted to ask you. Just what I forgot. The guys that make those little animal figurines.
Sure.
Is that like an easier part? I don't want to say easy. I don't want to like take away from it. But is that like?
You're talking about the big flaming hole, the big metal sticks, and then all of a sudden they just kind of pull a horse kind of out of the glove or whatever.
Like
That's
that.
a Venetian style of glass blowing.
Okay.
Those are the types of things when you're first learning, they'll make
That's
you
what you
do 100 millions of those
Yeah.
things. And sculpting in general is tough because then you're dealing with like proportions and stuff. And I don't do a whole lot of sculpting
Right.
specifically because of that. I'm not good at it. So it just takes ridiculous repetition in order to achieve those things. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those dudes do it. They'll whip one out in like 90 seconds.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, so they could just bang those things out.
Yeah,
all day long,
if it's what we're talking, if we're talking about the same thing, they'll like take a gather and like
Yeah, like the
pull
little
here,
freaking things you
yeah,
see,
pull here, pull there, pull there. Up, I'm done. And one of my students was telling me, he's like, yeah, I went and saw one of those dudes make one of those like little horses, and then he took it and lit a cigarette with it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds very Italian.
That's cool, man. All right.
It just takes time. All of it just takes time.
Right.
Hours equal powers. That's the old adage. I'm sure the same thing with tattooing.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's you're always learning something. You never if you say, "Oh yeah, I know how to do this," like in tattooing, even with glass blowing. Yeah, I learned everything there is, and pack your stuff up and go on to something else because
Yeah.
you never stop learning.
Yeah, in glass blowing, there's so many different disciplines within each realm.
Right.
Like within torching, there's sculpting, there's fuming, there's line work, there's cupping, there's grawl work, sandblasting, all the filicello, radicello, like all these different disciplines that you can just sit there and try a million times, dial in a million times until you reach like the product that you're looking for. And then if you feel like you've had enough, you can just literally just make a right over here, and now you're starting all over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, that's cool, man.
I'll also say, as we're kind of closing up here,
Yeah.
I also have been big into home decor with the new facility here. I like doing kitchen backsplashes, making tiles and installing and that type of idea. Any kind of color, any kind of shape. The cool thing about these kind of fused tiles is that it allows for almost unlimited customization. Each one of these tiles, actually, if you want to reach right behind you, there's some light switches right there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Each one of those is 3 layers of glass. There's the base layer, which is something opaque that hides the grout and everything else. Then there's some kind of, there's like a sparkle layer, and then there's a piece of clear over the top. You can change the clear into like a tint or a different transparent color, or like all these things that will just slowly tune the glass either one way or the other until eventually you can achieve the type of color scheme that you're looking for. I just finished an installation not too long ago. It was 150 tiles that I had to make, shape, fabricate. You know, those are actually the last couple of pieces, making the light switch covers to kind of tie all these things up.
How long something like that take? A long time?
The facility here, I can only produce about, if I use both kilns, about 10 tiles at a clip. So 15 cycles. There's another facility that has a larger kiln that I can use or rent. There you can do like 40 tiles at a clip or whatever, but you're talking about all day sitting there setting it up.
Right.
It takes a while, but everyone's got Italian marble. That's so yesterday, you know. Like that's everyone's got floor and decor. That's a whole, you know. We're shooting for full customization. People who are really into checking out their home, kitchen, bathroom, outdoor space, whatever. And again, as you know, here on Long Island, people have an appetite for that type of thing,
right?
For sure. So that's kind of what we're after. I'm starting to work on another installation soon. Just came out with the like color samples, and we're dialing into what the scheme is going to be, and I'm going to start fabrication on that probably August 1st.
So listen, like in 100 years from now, what do you want when people mention your name? What do you want them to say about you? Like when they say "B Money Glass," like
I
what do you
like
want your
the
legacy to be?
I like the education. You know, again, it is very. I'm not gonna say hush hush, but like there's so much knowledge and there's only so much like there's definitely videos out there about glass blowing, but you can only take in so much from a video. You really need the hands on and someone over your shoulder going, "No, stupid, you're doing it wrong,"
Right.
to be able to dial in. That's how I got good very quickly. My homie Phil needed an apprentice, and not only did I fit the bill, but I had him right over my shoulder going, "No, stupid, you're doing it wrong." And eventually that fine-tuned me into good, quick, disciplined, all that stuff pretty quickly. If you're just in your garage by yourself, you're in your own little echo chamber, and like bad habits start to form that way, or like
Right.
just things you don't even think of or realize, or the creative process, or any of these things, you know. It's that definitely a grass is cleaner on the other side. You know, grass is always greener on the other side. There we go. Working by yourself in your own home studio, pros and cons. Working in a group setting, you know, a large facility, pros and cons.
Well, yeah, when you work with other people, that's the inspiration you get from them, you know, and that's important in any kind of art, you know what I mean?
You would hope.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
You would hope. I'm sure you could say in the tattooing industry,
Yeah.
you've rolled across some real knuckle draggers.
Oh, yeah. But for the most part, you know, even working with the knuckle drag, you still learn something. What not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I know about the tattoo industry too. Like, you know, it attracts not always the greatest people,
No,
you
no,
know,
it
and
doesn't.
you rub right up against some like real hard shit, like
Yeah.
real hard shit.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
you just got to really be focused, feet on the ground, try not to fall into the bullshit, and hopefully achieve what you want.
Yeah, it's like in tattooing, and I always say it. A lot of these people are just starting out now
Yep.
with their fucking attitudes and shit. It's like, you know what? When I first started, you would never fucking make it, man. that attitude will not get you far at all, you know.
Yeah.
But
Especially these days
What
in
do you
glass,
Yeah.
the industry is definitely going through a shakeup. In large part to the legalization.
Right.
There's pre-rolls and e-units, you know, like the pens or whatever else that like there used to be a barrier to entry to I want to get high or whatever that is, you know. I need to be able to roll a doobie, which is a learned skill. You really
Exactly,
need. It's not, you know, before cones came out, you really rolling a doobie.
yeah,
was
that should
difficult.
roll a joint. Yeah, I remember that.
Takes a bunch of practice, and like That was unappealing to a
I was
lot
the
of people.
best joint roller around, man. When I was like
You know,
16.
I wasn't the greatest of joint rollers, but I can stuff the shit out of cone.
Yeah.
People like look at me and look at what I
We
do for
didn't
a
have
living.
cones back then.
They're like, "You can't roll a doobie." I'm like, "No, can you make a pipe out of glass?" And they're like, "I guess not. No, you know, like, not that I can't. It's just not. There are so many people that are nasty at it that I allow them to work their magic or whatever."
Cool,
So anyway, but now all these things have really trounced the glass industry, and it's pretty crazy. So like, if you don't got something else, or you got really creative, or you really follow in those trends, or really have outlets or collectors that are willing to take on all of your work or whatever, it's hard times right now. That's why so many people are turning into fishmongers or butchers or production jobs or whatever. Not cool.
No, not cool.
Not cool. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you.